So you have to tell me, do you have like the view count up top of your screen? Can you see like how many viewers or
Yep.
anything? Or...
Yep. I see it. Yep. This is
Okay,
perfect.
so right now we're just waiting on people. I
Awesome.
don't actually think I'm able to create a poll. Look at that. Interesting. So okay,
Technology.
I can't create a poll on live with somebody, I guess. So that's definitely new to me.
Interesting.
But yeah, I guess we could just chit chat and wait for people to get in. So you
Sounds
have
good to
any
me, my friend.
huh?
Sounds good to me, my friend. So, my question is this: being that you live in a rural part of America, let's say the East Coast, right?
Yeah,
Do you see a difference from where I guess you're connected to the industry of farming, let's say, right? So,
yeah,
what would you
definitely.
say the caveat is to New Jersey farming versus I don't know domestic California, Florida?
Well, every different location in the country has like their different perks for what they can grow. Like I can't grow citrus here, right?
Really? Oh well, it makes sense
But
actually.
so like I know Arizona can definitely grow citrus. Florida,
Hmm.
California, they can grow citrus. Oh, hello everybody! Thanks for joining in. We're chit chatting about a little bit of everything tonight, current events and that type of thing. But yeah, so we're able to grow different things different times of the year. And apples, for one thing, is like something that a lot of the country can't grow because apples need like
Really?
certain, yeah, they need certain chill hours. So basically, like my trees need to be between like 32 and 40 degrees for like let's say 400 hours or 600 hours, depending on the variety. And if they don't get that chill hour, they don't produce fruit, which is
So
very cool.
where do you learn all this stuff? Because I mean, you seem to be a wealth of knowledge in the industry. So, for example, whenever I have a question, whether it be grapes to chickens, you seem to have an answer for me. So, where do you tell
I
me
had
more
like
about that?
6 years of research between YouTubers and like different forums.
Wow,
Yeah.
you have a master's in pharmacology. I love it.
Yeah, basically, I'm like self-taught, but you put a
Hmm.
lot of knowledge away, and it's a lot of repeat knowledge, and like you learn the same thing 5 times from 5 different people, and you figure out like through like hands-on, which is the best way to go about it, which is
I mean, it's just
definitely
it's
cool.
crazy because every time I have a question, it could be the most off the wall question. Oh, let me ask Mike. I call you and you seem to have an answer, and it's just
Sure.
fantastic. Like the chickens are the weirdest ones because I know that they would be the top of the food chain, but they're also their own little quirky animals, right? So tell me more about that.
Well, they'll eat anything. I could drag a deer carcass into them, and they'll freaking pick it clean.
How long would that take?
Between 24 chickens,
Hmm.
probably a couple of days, but it might like the flesh might start rotting, so like you'd have to like cut it open and like let them have at it. But
Yeah, no, I understand.
like vultures, like you could have like 10 vultures pick a carcass clean in like 2 or 3 days, easy.
Wow. Well, it was funny that you said that. So I was driving up here. I'm up in West Milford in North Jersey, in the middle of nowhere, basically like where you live, I would
Yeah.
say. And I'm driving, and I do the typical Jersey thing. Let me text and drive. So I happen to look up, and I see a vulture eating something, and I swerved out of its way and almost hit another car. Not to admit that I was being a proprietor of breaking the law, but they are up here, and it is interesting to see.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's actually two types of vultures that we have. So there's like
Really,
the normal turkey vulture and then the blackhead vulture. The black vulture will actually come down and they. I haven't witnessed this yet, but I'm definitely have to be careful when I have my kidding season, which is coming soon, like the end of April for my goats. They say
really.
they'll come down and peck the eyes out of the kids, and they'll start eating the kids alive or try to fly off with them.
I thought they only go after what was once.
Not the black vultures.
Really?
Yeah,
How,
the
and
black
which is
vultures
bigger?
they're vicious.
And they could pick up an entire goat.
Well, baby goat because they're only a couple pounds when they come out, but yeah.
I had no idea. Now,
Hmm.
are they everywhere in America, or is it just kind of like a Jersey problem?
I'm pretty sure. Like, I'll check it out.
This
But
is
I'm
interesting
pretty sure.
fun facts for sure.
Yeah. Let's see the territory. Known to breed throughout southeastern, middle Atlantic region of the U.S., also
Hmm.
southeastern Canada. Yeah, so they're like sort of all over.
Interesting.
Yeah, they got a good range.
So,
Have
like
you
the
grown
wildlife
vultures
in
in the past?
Jersey, like the wildlife we have here is very much the same as I guess other regions, right? So not like
I mean,
let's
like
say.
we don't have goats and stuff like that like out west.
I mean, you
And
do though, so now we do.
well, I got goats, but not wild goats, not bighorn sheep and stuff.
I mean, like, what do you use those for? Like, I'm not into farming, so I'm kind of a,
Oh, so
I guess,
my goats are for
yeah.
manure. They manure, and then they're going to be dairy because you could produce a lot of calories from dairy.
Hmm. Oh, I
Uh,
didn't know.
if I for my two goats, because they're Nigerian dwarfs, they should give me about a half gallon at peak production. So if I
Really,
get a gallon per day, it's 7 gallons a week. And what is a gallon of goat's milk in calories?
I have no idea. This is all interesting stuff, though. I've never heard of like this stuff before.
We're looking at like 2,688 calories from a gallon
So
of goat's milk.
that's for the entirety of the production, or is that?
No, that's per goat or per two goats for a day. So I can get 2,600 calories per
Uh,
day from my two goats. So if I need to survive, right, as long as
hmm.
I got grain and hay for them to eat, they'll probably, if I didn't have grain and I just had them on pasture, they'll probably produce a little bit less. But if
Hmm.
I'm getting 2,600 calories a day, that's great from two goats. That then
I,
literally I could have them clear brush for me, and like they'll produce milk from it. Might not be the best tasting milk, but I'll have calories.
so let
You
me
know.
ask you a question then. So I've heard the term, and pardon my ignorance, right? So free range chickens, free range versus. I understand what free range is, right? You just let it go, and you don't. Do you have to augment the food supply? Is my question.
So I still feed my free range birds.
Do you have?
Technically, right?
Hmm.
The food industry is like a super like marketing ploy. Like so their free range like ideology is like free range is as long as it has sunlight, fresh air, and dirt under its feet. So they could be in a cage. Like I have a run for my chickens to keep them safe when it's like cold, snowy out, raining because like you don't want them to get wet. They can get like pneumonia and different like respiratory infections.
Really, chickens?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
So basically, they can be in that cage 365, and being
Hmm.
that they have fresh air, sunlight, and dirt under their feet, they're considered free range, but they're not fully free range. So if I were to keep them in there for like 2 weeks, I notice a difference because I eat the eggs every day. I notice a difference in the quality. They're not going to be as orange at the yolks because they don't have like that it's beta-tine or something. There's some sort of nutrient that makes the yolk more orange. They get that from scrounging bugs and eating grass.
Interesting.
But they can technically be advertised as free range.
So
They
do you
wouldn't
offer?
technically be. They
So,
technically would be cage free because they all have about 8 square foot per bird as well, so they're not in like a 2 foot by 2 foot container.
yeah, exactly.
Um, so
Those
they're
ones.
cage free, free range, fed organically because I only feed them USDA organic seal stuff. And yeah, so but in the store, you could have a factory, right? If it's 100 by 100, they cut out a little 10 foot area of concrete, and
Hmm.
that's dirt, and then they put a screened window there so they have like sunlight and fresh air, and they can call that free range in the store.
So legally, is that a legal term? Is that vernacular for, or is it just them trying to like pat themselves in the back to say we have free range,
No,
whatever?
that'd be the USDA or the USDA.
Really?
They allow that to happen. Oh yeah,
So
100%.
given your wealth of expertise in the field, right? So I would say that I know a lot of people, across the country. You know more than any single person that I know as far as farming, right? Would
Yeah.
you offer a training course for, let's say, someone were to reach out to you randomly and say, "Hey, Mike, you happen to know X, Y, Z. Would you offer a
So,
training like that for somebody, even for someone like myself who says, like, I want to
so
get into it?
my plan for this spring and summer season actually is I'm gonna be trying to like break myself off from the farm a little bit. So like last year I started doing wasp removals by accident because I started doing like honeybee like
Hmm.
rescues. And a lot of these people that thought they had honeybees turned out to be hornets or wasps. I'm like,
I'll pass.
well, I could remove them, and I could I could remove them for a fee, but like I remove honeybees for free, right? Because
Yeah,
I'm getting stock. I'm getting bees that are going to produce for me in the future. They're going to pollinate for me. I could put them on other locations and
yeah.
charge like pollination services.
Hmm.
But wasps, a little bit different, a little bit more high risk. Like I've gotten stung, I think like 8 times, 9 times from one wasp removal in a crawl space.
Wait,
I'll never do a crawl
one
space
one
again.
one particular instance, not like
Yeah,
you went.
they got through my suit, my arms. They got under my suit, like on my waistband, and they also got into my boots and up my pants. It was it was bad.
I don't want to laugh at you, but I mean, on the inside, I'm giggling a little bit as
Oh
long as
yeah,
you're
it sucked. It
okay.
was definitely bad. But yeah. So I'm planning to do consultations this summer. So basically, like if somebody wants to homestead, because like we're a farmstead, so a homestead is grow food for your family. If you have extra, you can give to like friends or family.
Exactly.
A farmstead is more like same concept, but like I want to make a profit off of this.
Hmm.
So what I'm trying to do is like I have an orchard right now. We have like 28 trees in our orchard.
That's a lot of trees, though. Think about that.
Yeah, it's a
I
lot.
have
And
I have 0 trees, so I
so
mean,
if each of those trees could produce, like, because they're dwarf variety, so they could produce anywhere from like 80 to 160 pounds of fruit per tree. If I can get those trees to even produce 100 pounds, that's
mhm,
2,600 pounds of food right there.
wow.
That's a lot of food, and that's a lot of calories. I could store it, I could ferment it, I could can it, I could make sauce with it, I could make cider with it, I could make alcohol with it, I could make vinegar with it.
So go back
So
to the alcohol. Kidding. Continue.
I mean, it's good bartering technique for like an
Mhm.
SHTF. Like if you're gonna barter, alcohol is gonna be the thing because people are gonna be seeking comfort.
Yep.
Salt, alcohol, and ammo. Those would be the three
Yep.
like main things to trade in like SHTF.
Well, so I'm gonna pivot this conversation because I like this is pretty much right up your wheelhouse, and maybe I can learn something because why not? So given all this economic stuff and everyone's worried about the food, I mean, truly we are having food shortages, whether you want to believe it or not. I mean, we
Oh
can
yeah,
see grocery store inflation. So what would be your advice for someone who, like myself, who's not a homesteader, not a prepper? I'm a prepper in the fact that I can get what I need when I need it, but you take it to the next level, let's say. So what would a guy like me, the average Joe, what would be my best steps to starting the prepping journey, let's say?
I would say probably plant a couple fruit trees. Just find two apple varieties, even if they're the same variety, right? So if you did like two Honeycrisp because they store well, or
Okay.
I think Pink Lady store well as Macintosh Cortlands. They're all good storing apples, so you could have them as long as they don't have a hole in them, and you store them in like a cold cellar, root cellar. They'll store for like months. Uh,
Really?
Start a small garden. There was this thing I should have sent it to myself, but it's
Hmm.
like how much food you need per person for a year's worth of food, and it's really not that much. It's like 5 or 6 tomato plants. It's like 2 cucumber plants, 2 or 3 zucchini plants, a
Hmm.
couple squash, like 60 square feet of corn. Because I'm assuming you're going to dry the corn, make meal out of it, so you could
Maybe.
like turn it into like tortillas and stuff like that. Because like cornmeal is going to store a lot longer than like full on corn.
Mhm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
the wheat wasn't too bad. I think it was like 60 or 70 square foot of wheat because you could produce like 3,600 pounds on an acre of wheat, which is like a lot of wheat.
That's a lot
I,
of work, though. Let's be honest. But
yeah, it's a lot because if you're going to be hand doing this, like you're going
mhm.
in my preps coming up, I'm getting a grinder, so I'm going to get a grinding mill, and it's going to be a hand crank, so I could like clip it right onto my desk here, and just
Interesting.
like crank away and like feed wheat into it once it's at like the right moisture level.
Hmm.
And I'm also going to my plan this year is to try to grow my own chicken feed. So wheat,
Interesting.
soybeans, sorghum, and corn. And I'm going to try to find the ratio to create the right protein and calcium. And I'm going to grind it and then pelletize it and see if I can reduce my feed bill a little bit. Because right now we have between the quail and the chickens and the ducks,
Hmm.
100 and I think no 99, no 90. Hang on, let me do the math
We'll
real
just
quick.
say we could say an even hundred if it makes it easy for you, because
Let's say 90 birds. I think 90 birds on farm or 93 birds on
that's a
farm.
lot of birds.
I go through 12 pounds a day. Let's call it 13 pounds between the chickens and the ducks of one feed, and then my quail are taking another 5 or 6 pounds of feed. So like 18 pounds of feed a day.
Is that a lot, or I'm not sure how that how that works? But
So it's winter time, so they've been cooped up a bit more with all the snow on the ground. But let's just say 18 pounds times 365. That's 6,570 pounds of feed a year is what I'm going through for
and where do you store all that feed? That's a lot of space, no?
so basically I what I'm doing is I order like 400 pounds at a time. So I'll order like 10 bags,
It's a
which
lot.
like when I started, right, those 10 bags used to be like $220. They're
Hmm.
now like a little over 300. So
Well,
and this is 2 years of keeping birds, 3 years, whatever it is. Like in 3 years, they started like $22 and now they're $29 a bag, which is like insane.
I mean,
Like
Biden is working for all of us, right? And I say that facetiously. You know what I mean?
Bidenomics is working.
Not for us, but for someone
Yeah,
else.
for whoever's profiting from it all is like it's crazy.
I know it's not you, me, or anyone watching this right now. I'm sure, but
And like the dollar definitely does not go as far as it used to. That's for
hmm.
sure. And everyone's feeling that. And like even like people that are making $100,000 a year, which I'm nowhere close to that. I wish I was, are even still feeling the effects.
Hmm.
Like
Six figures is not what it used to be. So, for example, if you look at like what the salaries were when let's say we were kids and our dads would go to work or our parents would go to work, and then we basically the premise of the overall reaching theme of what I'm trying to say is when people used to make 80,000 a year. Right now, let's say 80,000 in 1996 to 1998. That equals 248,000 or something like that. I was reading an
yeah,
article in Forbes, and I was
yeah,
like, wow. So technically, I'm making less than what my parents made in like the late 80s, 90s.
yeah, yeah. You could have two people making 40,000 a year and living really comfortably, and they could have been living in Bergen County like no problem. And now, if you're making $250,000 a year, you're like just scraping by. Like
Yep.
it's crazy. Like if okay, so I did math the other day, right? And
Ooh, better than me. Better than me, my friends.
um on a mortgage, because you're gonna overbid on your houses nowadays. But like me and Jackie, we're lucky. We bought right after COVID hit, so like we were doing whatever. Like if so on a mortgage, let's say it's like $500,000, right?
Hmm.
On like 6% for interest.
6%.
Oh, what's going on, Mark? How you doing? Welcome in. So like if you do like the calculation on just principal and interest, you're looking at like just over $1 million basically.
Hmm.
And that's a 30 years. So like you could refinance, you could do that, but that's like 7 to 10 years into your principal payoff. And I don't know, but like I don't have 100 grand laying around to like put as a down payment for 20%. So if you're looking at the FHA like 3.5% or up to, now you're looking at PMI. You get your private mortgage insurance, which is going to jack your bill up anywhere from 50 to $150 a month. It's like crazy.
Plus utilities, inflation, and everything else in between. So you're looking at absorbent amounts of money for less than what your parents had in the late 90s.
Yeah, yeah. And then like if in 30 years, right, if my house is not worth $1 million, like did I lose money? But then I also did the math too. So like if rent right now, if you could get locked into rent, right, on like let's say a 3 bedroom at like 2,700 or 3 grand a month,
Hmm.
over that years, you're only going to pay like 40 or 50 thousand dollars more than you would with the mortgage. So like you're
That's
basically at
not
the
true
same
anymore. That's all the
yeah,
report that
you're basically at the same numbers if you were locked into that rent. But now at the end of the 30 years, you don't own anything and
unless
you
you live in
still spent
California,
the same.
Jersey. Because now what happens is the mortgages are more than the rent. And like what Mark just said, 12 bids just to get to where he's at. That's
Yeah,
insane.
that's crazy.
I've never heard of that before, Mark. That's insane.
Wow, one of 12 bids, like that's nuts, dude. That is so serious. Like that's like the housing market, like everyone's buying up. So like another thing that heard though is like they're BlackRock and all these like big companies are buying up the housing market.
Vanguard,
Yeah,
BlackRock.
they don't want people to actually own anything. So like they want to be the ones that like come out and say, well, we could rent it to you. So like you're going to own nothing, and they're going to push that and strive for that to get you.
Well, let's look at this holistically. So, technically, do you really own anything? You don't
Well,
pay taxes on your house. What
if we're
happens?
if we're paying property taxes, yeah, they're going to put a lien on it for sure. So like when you do sell one day, or they're going to have the sheriffs come in and say, well, we're forcing you to sell your house, and we're going to take what you owe. Or somebody's going to come in and they're going to say, I'll pay the back taxes, like BlackRock or Vanguard, the people who have the
One
money,
benefit, and they'll own your house.
and they're going to say get out, and they're going to send the sheriffs, and you're not going to own anything unless you like pay it back within whatever it is, like 40 days or 45 days, whatever the county
And
gives you.
still, you don't own it because if you don't keep those payments up, it's gone again.
Yeah, yeah, it's nuts. I mean,
It's
we're lucky. Our property taxes, like, sort of don't like it, but our property taxes went up $400 this year. So we went from 5,800 a year to 6,200 a year, which is crazy. Crazy.
and really get with that. So basically, let's say you get a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
The government's not involved at all. I'm working hard. We're all working hard. Every Thursday, every Friday, government comes. There's my check, cut in half.
See you
So
later.
the government never to be seen until all of a sudden my paycheck comes.
Yep.
The tolls are going up on the streets in New Jersey. What are
Oh
my
yeah.
taxes?
I haven't been
All
to the city. What's the toll going over the George Washington now? Last
upwards of
time, the last
with
time
the
I
easy.
went over, I think it was $14 last time.
When was that? That was a long time ago.
Yeah, like 3 years ago. I think
Yeah,
it's been 3 or 4 years since I've been in the city.
it went up like 3 or 4 times since then, apparently. So I haven't gone since I work from home now, thank God. But it was literally costing me hundreds of dollars a week.
Yeah, you used to commute to the city every day.
every day, 6 to 7 days a week.
What'd you
Over the
say? I remember you told me one time that like between your tolls, your gas, and your parking, you were spending like 60 grand a year just on that.
not 60, but multiple, like $30,000 a
Yeah,
year,
yeah, that's
plus
crazy.
plus the tax for New York, New Jersey. So you're upwards of 60 grand. He's well
It
more than that. Actually.
it reminds me of that movie In Time with I think it's In Time with Justin Timberlake, and they had like
Yep.
the clock on their arm, and he goes, "Whoa, it's a
Yep.
year just to get into that city." Like for like
Mhm.
the time that like just runs off your clock, and if you run
Well, you
out of
want to
time,
get
you're done.
the goal is to get to Greenwich, and I don't know why people would call New York City Greenwich because it's by no means Greenwich,
No,
but I get to go. Good.
yeah, right. If
So it
anybody wants to jump in the chat, we're welcome to answer some questions or chit chat with you guys. So please feel free, hop in, chat with us. We're talking about anything and anything relevant, you know.
and teach me something too. I'm always willing to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, but with you, if you want, Flory, I'll come by you and I'll do a consultation for you. You'll be my reference because I'm gonna do consultations this year. So basically, from like sun up to sundown, I'm gonna
Hmm.
like basically like sell myself, and I'm gonna come to your property. I'm gonna check where the sun rises, where the sun lands and falls at night, how the sun goes over your property, and like what places get the best sun for gardens or trees. Where's the shade spots that you want to avoid? Where can you put chickens or goats or quail or whatever you
I
want to
wanted
do?
a greenhouse because a couple of my neighbors have them and they look cool. I mean, but they don't upkeep them, so they kind of look like crap. But I want to
Yeah,
keep it clean, nice. But
yeah. If you want, man, I'll come over and I'll do it for free for you one day, and we'll figure out something. So like we could do like quail for you if you wanted quail because they're like 4 foot, like 4 foot by 2 foot, and like you could have 36, like 50 of them in one stack if you
let's
pack
start with
them in.
tomatoes because there's a little bit of a learning curve for this guy, and I also,
Yeah.
if I
Well,
can
that's
if I can
why.
keep potatoes alive, potentially birds have a chance.
Well, that's why. That's. I mean, birds are easy. It's like if you're taking care of one, you can take care of 100. Like you do water for them, right? They get a water container, they get a food container,
Mhm.
and that's basically it. And they need a cage.
But the problem is, like, I want to become. I'd probably become friends with them, so they would like. I'd give them names. I wouldn't want to eat.
I'm friends with mine. No, you can't tell them apart. These ones you cannot tell apart. I'm sorry.
You put like little bracelets on their
You
ankles, or
could put bracelets on them. I have a couple with bracelets, and I just know that those are the oldest ones I have, and they're almost 2 years old. Or no, they're over 2 years old. They're going on like 2.5, almost three. If they hit June or July this year, they're 3 years old, and like they've been like waiting to go to the other side since they're two. Because once they
wait,
hit two, that's it. It's like the
that's their
time
lifespan.
ticking.
2 years old.
2 years old, yeah. So time just ticking away.
I didn't know that. I thought they would live for like not 10 years, but
Chickens could live up to 10 years. Some chickens like 8 to 12 years is like average, but like if you free range, like so we have a livestock guardian dog. Well, what I call a livestock guardian dog,
hmm.
and he runs around and he chases the vultures and the hawks away and stuff because we got a lot of Cooper hawks and we have
Oh,
bald
that's cool.
eagles here every day. Uh, I'm not going to say that name, but what's going on, Freddie? But yeah, he chases the birds away and he barks off the coyotes at night, which is great because we have
That's awesome.
lot of coyotes here.
Wait, so how like I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but like I want to learn. So, coyotes. I know that they're dangerous. I know that they're nocturnal, but how about what the dog actually scares them away? Is my point.
So by him like being on the fence line, like because coyotes are
Mhm.
opportunistic hunters, so they'll like
Okay.
see opportunity and try to take it.
Hmm.
I have like dig proof apron, like predator aprons on the bottom of my coops. So basically, it's like hardware cloth, and it goes 2 feet out in every direction from the base of my coop. So if something was going to come and dig, they're going to dig right at the base of it because it's like they're not going to try to dig
And they
2 feet
can't
away,
push the cloth up.
huh?
They can't push the cloth up in some type of way
No,
to
because
get to it.
I have it buried underneath dirt and mulch. So
I never even heard.
they'll dig a couple inches and they'll hit wire and like it just stops them dead in their tracks.
They won't be persistent and like try to do more, or
No. So like that's why I don't go with poultry netting, like the chicken wire they call it.
yeah, I've seen
Raccoons could rip that apart. We use
chicken wire. They can.
yeah, so we use galvanized hardware cloth. It's I believe it's a 19 gauge, but it's strong, dude.
I
It's
never
real
even
strong.
heard. Before. It's interesting.
Yeah, we get it by 100-foot roll on Amazon, and I think the cheapest we've got it for is like 65 cents a foot, and at
Yep.
like peak COVID prices, it was like $1.09 a foot.
Well, it fluctuates with the metal prices, I'm sure, right? That's how it
Yeah,
works.
for sure. Oh, hey Daisy Q, how you doing? Welcome to the live tonight. They can jump a 6-foot fence. Whew. I mean, I gotta
Well, I
get
don't.
hot wire. I should put a hot wire on the top of my fence because I got 6-foot fence on half my property and the other half is a 4-foot. But we had a koi wolf. I ever tell you about the koi wolf?
No, they're big though, aren't they?
Yeah, so like this thing was like he was sort of on like a hill, right? Like my fence is here and like my neighbor's property is where it goes up. So he was sort of up a little bit, like a foot or two, but he was
Hmm.
looking clear over the fence at me. And like
Oh,
he charged us one night. I like was chasing him and I had the high powered pellet and I took a shot and I walloped him right there. I heard it hit and he like went like one of those up over the wall. I never saw him again.
wait, so they don't hit a hot. They don't touch a hot wire. What is that? Like, I'm assuming it's like electric fence.
Like electric, yeah, electric fencing. But I've heard like from a buddy of mine, I got hay from him a couple times, and he's like up more like in like High Point, New Jersey,
Oh, I
and
love it up there.
yeah,
Quiet.
he's a sheep farmer, and he said that he was looking at his sheep one day in the field, and he's like, oh, I guess they're just like laying down extra long today, chewing their cud, because that's what sheep and goats do. Ruminants just sit there and they just like chew their cud, so they like regurgitate up from the rumen. It's gross.
Yeah, it
Um,
sounds disgusting.
yeah, but he's like, I might as well go check them because they've been there for like an extra while. He goes up and he sees the coyote climbing out of the fence, literally climbing welded wire fencing up and over. And he actually said that he had a hot wire and they went over it. They either went and he had a low hot wire on the outside and a high hot wire as well.
And it didn't care.
Unless his fence was grounded out somewhere where it wasn't hitting it like it was supposed to be, then that would be the only thing that I would see like stopping them or
What's
like
the voltage?
letting them
Not,
in.
not 110, right? I'm assuming.
Hmm?
Is a hot wire like standard 110, or is it
Oh yeah,
like?
you plug it right into an outlet, and you basically have two leads. So like one goes into a grounding rod, and the
Mhm.
other one goes to your wire, your hot.
And it won't ever short the house out or cause a fire? I've never even heard of that before.
It shouldn't.
That's
A lot of
interesting.
people, so they say that an electric fence, as long as it's not getting grounded out, doesn't cost you anything. From the time you plug it in, you'll get that one charge around, and just like so, like you have outlets, right? If you don't plug anything into your outlets, it's really not running your meter up. Same thing with an electric fence. But if something's hitting it, if like a cow keeps sitting his head on there and getting nailed, then you're going to run your bill up. Or if you have a
So
piece of
what?
grass, if you have a piece of grass touching your hot wire, it's going to just run the meter.
So what if I keep falling out of bed at night and I put a hot? I'm just kidding.
Well, it'll wake you up.
I never
I'll
heard of
tell
that.
you how
It's,
many times, like, so if I'm wearing good shoes, right, it
hmm.
just feels like a static shock. And I have like a little 2 miler and it's on a solar.
Hmm.
It's not hitting where it should be. It should be like a little bit higher. I'm getting voltage around like 6,500 volts when it should be at like a minimum of like 7,700.
Okay.
Um, but if I touch the wire and then touch the ground, oh, it goes
That's.
right through you.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a hard pass. I mean, how about alligator moats? Would that be something that we could potentially utilize here in New Jersey? Or
I don't know. Any form of booby traps are illegal, but
well,
but they want to put alligators in the Rio Grande.
really? For what
That's
purpose?
to stop the illegal crossings.
Oh, well, that's different. I was thinking something else. I, I mean, listen, like back to that point. Unfortunately, that we have to even be talking about this. I do feel bad for the people coming here, but what we're not discussing is the majority, and it's the overwhelming majority, is not children and mothers and parents and like they
No,
want you to believe. It's adult age men who
yeah,
were able to fight. There, a couple of them are known terrorists, sex offenders, and everything else in between, and that's not okay with me. And I'm not a parent. I know you are. I know a lot of people watching this might be. To let these people come here and they're unvetted, it's
yeah,
concerning.
yeah,
So I'm gonna.
100%. I mean, they say that men run from their wives when they're running to war, and men flee with their wives when they're running away from war. So, what does that tell you with all the things that we're seeing coming over the border?
That's a tale as old as time, unfortunately. But I
Yeah.
mean,
And then I
we're
saw a video today about what is it?
butcher of
The
Tehran.
CJNG cartel, and they were battalion sized force, and they were in armored vehicles, and this convoy was long. This guy was walking, and he like turns this corner, and then like the line just goes. It looks like it was like I don't even know how long, quarter mile more. So they easily have like 300 to 1,000 men, and that's just one battalion. Like who knows
And the
how many
firearms,
other?
police vehicles outfitted.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
These are like MRAPs. They're serious vehicles. They've
and
got 50 cals mounted on top. Like they've got gunners. They've got all that stuff.
and
It's pretty
rumor
insane.
has it a lot of these weapons are from the Fast and Furious debacle. And I'm not talking about the movie. There was an initiative done by the Obama administration where they wanted to track. I don't understand this, but I'm going to say it exactly as it is, and hopefully you guys can help me decipher this nonsense. An effort to track where weapons would go once they leave the states. And I'm not talking about weapons that we can go buy as citizens. I'm talking about fully auto M4s
Yeah,
with all the
military
exact.
grade stuff.
Yep, they're using weapons like that. So I wonder where they got them from.
I don't know. A lot of weapons go missing a lot of times. Like when we got out of where was it? Afghanistan, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got
Five
out
point
real
four billion dollars.
yeah, got out real quick from what was it, Bagram, right? Air Force Base.
Yep,
And
exactly.
they left everything. Like, well, grab your bags. You're lucky you're taking your belongings. And then I actually saw like some random videos, not sure how much truth there is to it, but there was a few military guys saying that they were getting their discharge paperwork, their DD 214s, and they were receiving a bill with that saying that they owed them money for the M4s that they were left behind. And
I never
different
heard.
yeah, I heard that people were getting hit with like $8,000 to $10,000 worth of bills from the military on their DD 214s before they could actually receive them because they left all that stuff behind at that base, which they were forced to, like they said, get on the plane or we're leaving you.
That,
And
if
I don't
that's
know.
true, insanity.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much truth there is to it, but like these seemed like legit military personnel talking about it. And I don't know. I wouldn't put it past our military, unfortunately.
So I would send the bill either to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and or the Taliban.
Right?
But make sure you certify mail it because you don't know where that's going to go either.
Very true. Very
But
true.
no, I mean these are concerning times, and I feel bad that we even have to have this discussion. Like to be who we are as caring citizens. Like I care about the next person, right?
Yeah.
I donate to various organizations. I hold the door open for people. I'm for the most part I have manners, right? So
Yeah.
but for us to be able to have these discussions, it's kind of a sad state of affairs, unfortunately. And I pray for this country and everyone listening to this. Obviously, it's just scary, and I understand your concerns and your fear because I feel them too. I'm no different than you or anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, we could do our best to like prepare, you know,
Yeah,
cheaper to leave it. Yeah, it is cheaper to leave it.
I
But
mean
that's
cheaper for who? Not
yeah,
for the
it's
the bill.
I mean if they're giving the bill back to the guys who left it, like it's definitely cheaper for them. And then
Yep,
who knows, maybe they sent a bill to Afghanistan too saying, "We'll sell this to you for 50% off. Buy two get one free."
I can only imagine. I want
Right?
to see what Total Tech has to say. Apparently, there's some big news. I don't know if I can handle it at this point, but
Yeah, what kind of big news? Or is he saying that we're big news?
oh well, this is big news. I mean, maybe to potentially pay attention to what's going on because all the pieces are pushing toward one narrative, and I'm praying that that's not the narrative that we're going to see. We'll see. I hope
I
not.
mean, Putin's threatening like nuclear like lashback for anyone who's interfering or going west with the Ukraine. So that's definitely big stuff.
I just, I mean, I hope that these dictators can understand that when they're going to go to war, you're talking to the politicians, not the average everyday Joes like us that are supporting our families and going to work every day. Like,
Yeah.
what did I do to deserve to be killed by a nuclear weapon? Like,
Yeah.
what did my family do? What did your family do to deserve any of it? Going to work
So
every day?
yeah, I did like because they have like these blast maps to like see if you're safe, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
you could basically say like if there was a 200 megaton dropped on NYC, like would I be safe at the distance where I live? And I think where I am, I'm just outside of like the melt your skin off phase, but I'm definitely
Great.
I'm in the radiation phase for sure. Like we're definitely getting radiation fall off here. But do you have
But
any like
that,
the potassium? Do you have potassium iodide
those
tablets?
tablets?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I have like 3 or 4 weeks worth of them. But
I
that's
mean,
like basically
what?
Yeah, so like that's like you take one a day, and like it's like okay, so like now I have to travel, but like they're gonna probably hit Albany, New York City, like any like the major hubs in like Philadelphia, maybe Allentown, probably not, but like out west Pittsburgh, like there's so many cities that they would hit, but like then the question lies is like would we intercept them with like ground to air?
And if you did, what would happen?
It might be worse. Yeah, it might be worse fallout. So I don't know.
I Something to think about, my friend. But
Supposedly they did an intercontinental test Russia when Biden was over in
and
Ukraine.
it worked apparently.
I don't know. I heard stories that it failed,
I
but
heard
like
stories that it's succeeded and that they're also using other methodologies. For example, the Chinese spy balloon. There's another balloon apparently
there was
somewhere.
one over Canada.
Yeah, but it's the size of a microwave. So let's do. What can you fit in a microwave?
You can fit a lot of stuff in a microwave.
Maybe nuclear ordnance, and then that raises another question that we're not discussing. If you do a nuclear blast, what's a potential from that? EMP. We have
Yeah,
very subpar infrastructure.
yeah. Well, if you think about different like technologies that they have now, like there's like all these wildfires that are getting started up like all over the earth. There's one in Turkey. There's the Hawaii fire. There's the Texas fires right now, which I'm thinking that these Texas fires are not going to be good for this year
Heck,
for whatever reason. Texas, like
yeah, man.
they're supposed to get like 5 or 6 inches of rain throughout like their winter season. I think they got half an inch or under half an inch this year.
Oh my
So
goodness.
like if anyone's from Texas, please hit me up in the chat right
Yeah.
now and let me know how you guys are doing down there. But
Inf-
yeah, if like and then you got to get into like the weather machines like LARP. Is it
Yep.
LARP or
Yep.
ARP?
I don't know the acronyms. So listen, let me hop off for a second. I gotta let the dogs out real quick.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
I hear them moaning, and then I'll get back on.
Okay, you gonna just stay on the live?
I'm gonna close it, and I'll come back in.
I'm not sure if you'll be able to come back in from that. I'm not really sure
How
yet.
do I pause it? Let me try.
If you want, you could just walk off for a minute and come
I
right
just want
back.
to see.
That'd be cool. The kitty cat's sleeping. The big news is putting her to sleep. So, Total Tech, do you have any big news, or are you just telling everyone to listen up for us? So, I wish I could actually see who's in the chat, but unless you guys chit chat in the bottom there, I'm not actually able to see who's in here with us. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back as well. Everything is the way life for some of us. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. I mean, I don't like to share all my preps, Luke, but what type of preps are you got into? I mean, if you're new to this channel, my name is Mike, by the way. But basically, I'm a small farmstead. So we do a lot of canning, preserving. We grow. Last year we grew like 120 chickens. This year we're planning on doing about like 200, 240 because we do sell our extras. And we have an orchard. We have a 50 by 50 market garden. Also this year, I'm going to be trying to grow some of my own chicken feed. If you're still in chat, Luke, let me know down below. And if anyone could hit that button on the top right of your screen, it's the little 3 dots. Give the video a thumbs up. Let's get some more people in here. Broadcast it out. If you guys could hit the bottom, hit those hearts, get those hearts going. It just lets the algorithm know that it should boost this out to more audience. And our guest should be back in just a second. He's house sitting right now for a buddy. He's got to let the doggies out. Okay. Check out this microphone I got. Nice little YouTube mic. Oh, welcome back, sir.
Sorry, the dogs take precedent, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm sure everyone.
Good. Does he still have those? What are they? The Weimaraners?
Yes, they're awesome. They're smart.
Yeah.
They're pretty much the perfect dog for, I would say, hunting. The perfect dog just for companionship, and they're amazing. Like, I want to say anti-predatorial dogs in the fact that they're very astute. They're very aware.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
My apologies to you and everybody watching.
No problem. No problem at all. I took a little bathroom break, so.
No, I understand. So I do have a question. I guess the audience and myself are probably wondering, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we're discussing the hyper-political events going on in today's society. What would be, if you could do one thing right now, wave a magic wand, what would be your goal for prepping and preparation for, the unimaginable or something that you don't want to deal with, or like what would be your first lift for everyone watching, the amateurs like myself? What would be your first lift?
I mean, prepping, I would say.
Or just being prepared, like readiness.
I would say probably having like at least 15 pounds of flour and probably like another 20 pounds of rice, 25 pounds of rice, and 25 pounds of beans on hand.
That's a simple
Always.
task. That's
Yeah.
totally doable.
And you can do that in 3 5-gallon buckets. And you can use either diatomaceous earth, get food grade stuff. I use it in my chicken coops. It keeps
Wait,
bugs.
Explain to me. Like, I heard that's unsafe.
Don't sniff it.
Well, what exactly is it? I know it's made out of something.
It's like crushed fossils from the sea, from the ocean. Basically, like it's fossilized, but it's ground into a powder, so it's like super fine. And I guess the fossils, what they do is they cut bugs. They cut through like bug carcasses, whatever the exoskeleton is on a bug. It cuts through them and it dehydrates that bug, basically like causing it to perish. So usually they don't go into your food. Bay leaves also
side, basicly.
Yeah, natural insecticide. We use it in the garden sometimes. We use it like mostly in the chicken coops. So like we've had like one chicken get lice and we like treated her with that. But you have to treat like every like usually 7 to 10 days because of the lice cycle. It's like a 24-day, 25-day cycle from like egg to hatch to juvenile to like egg laying adult. We could use permethrin, which is a chemical, but then like now I have to dispose of that water somewhere. I'm not going to dump that down my septic because then it's going to be in my leach field and it's going to be poisoning the ground underneath. And I'm not going to dump it in like the spillway between my house. And I'm not going to bag it up and send it out to a landfill because I just don't feel right about that. But I could use that. And then there's like a time that you can't eat those eggs when you treat them with permethrin. And it has to be like a nice warm temperature day because I have to like literally dunk the chicken up to its neck in this solution. And they have to have time. Yeah, they have to have time to dry off and like not get all messed up.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's interesting.
But I would say rice, beans, and flour because what is it? A pound of flour? How many calories is that?
This is definitely your wheelhouse, and I'm learning quite a bit today, so I really appreciate it.
So 1 pound of flour is 1,600 calories. So basically, if I could make a 1 pound loaf and split that, and then like a cup of rice and a cup of beans, that's enough calories for 2 people for one day, and that can go quite far. I'm not sure if you ever tried to eat a 1 pound loaf of bread, but it's a lot of bread. It's like we make 1 pound loaves. They're like this wide and they're like this tall, and they're artisan loaves of sourdough.
I mean, I know I got the Italian thing going on. I like carbs and pasta, but I mean, me sitting there and actually eating 1 pound thing of bread, I don't think I've ever tried that, and I'm probably won't.
Yeah, it's like a daily intake of calories. But if you were to split that, or even split like that in half, and then have like each person have a quarter of that bread, you at least have calories to go. You have calories to go forage or hunt.
Hmm.
And like I feed the deer in my backyard. I throw them a scoop of corn every day or every couple of days, and they come right up to my fence line. I just bow's real quiet. In like an SHTF, if I had to take something with a bow, no one's gonna know, and I go track it and I bring it back and I could butcher it myself. But if you have like a shot ring out, like then that's gonna call people to you. So that's another thing. It's like you have to think, where are you gonna cook your food? Because like if I'm hungry, right, I could smell barbecue from down the street. So if I'm
Oh,
smelling barbecue and I don't have food, or I don't have a means to get my food or the knowledge to get my food, you think that someone else is not going to smell what I'm cooking and try to come and like find me cooking it,
I mean,
right?
it
So like
depends.
that,
Are you using Sweet Baby Ray's? Because then I'm definitely coming over.
right?
I'm just,
But like if
and
you think about that, like it's like, so like if you're cooking, like how are you gonna like curb that smell in the neighborhood?
you're not,
Because
truthfully.
like yeah, because like another thing is like, so for your preps, like talk to your neighbors, because you need to know who's with you, and like have them prep, like even if they had a little bit, like couple 5-gallon pails, 20 pounds of beans, rice, and flour,
Hmm.
and at least that for a solid week they'll be set. Besides the fact that like everyone's gonna have some canned foods or some like boxes of pasta on their shelf, like you're gonna have food that you probably don't eat or won't eat because you're like, oh, this is old. And like Americans just throw it in the trash. I know my brother in law, they literally like clean out their like fridge once a week. They got 3 kids, right? Mom and dad.
Yep.
And so family 5. And like whenever I'm at their house for parties and I open the fridge to like look for a drink, I'm like, oh, like I get like anxiety seeing how packed their fridge is. When like my fridge is like so neatly OCD organized and like I
Oh,
have
I
like
get that.
enough fresh food for like a week at a time, basically. But I see that like if I look at my pantry, that gives me anxiety because like I need to build a canning shelf. That's like next to my preps.
Everybody
Um,
does. Apparently, it's a common theme.
yeah, so I'm gonna build a shelf that's got space for 5 gallons on the bottom. I want to try to get 6. I don't know if I have the width to get that. I might just get
Mhm.
4.5. But I would like to have 6 5-gallon buckets on the bottom shelf. The shelf above that, I'm gonna do for like toiletries, so like toilet paper and paper towels. So it'll probably be about like 12 or 13 inches tall. And then I'm gonna make 4 or 5 more racks up to my ceiling. And we have like 7-foot ceilings here. Like they're like super super small. Like I could literally touch this.
I
Um,
probably could, but that's fine.
yeah, you could touch it, and you're
Uh,
short. I'm short too. But
Got to
so
bring your
we have
shop.
like 7-foot ceilings because it's an old 1945 farmhouse. Like this is dimensional lumber back in the 40s. Like this is literally, I think this is like 4 by 8s.
But I love the way the rafters look. There's a lot of options in there too. I like that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
It's solid too. Though that's a much better construction than I would say modern housing.
Yeah, yeah. As long as I don't get
Yeah,
termites.
I mean, that's an issue everyone has to deal with once in a while. But I guess would
Yeah.
diatomaceous earth be a good solution for that as
Yeah,
well?
absolutely. So what I plan on doing, cause like I've like, I know there's some termite damage. I have like different like fascia board outside, and I do have like bug damage. It looks like termite. So I'm gonna spray all the outside of my base of my house with diatomaceous earth, and if they're gonna try to crawl in there, they're just gonna go away.
That's what
Cause
I
it's
was
just,
thinking. See, I learned something new already. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Taught me
Yeah.
something new, and I was able to
And
apply
then
it
I don't have to use pesticides or herbicides on my property, because like
exactly.
we're striving for organic certification maybe one day. We know that right now, like we are in the clear, like all USDA standards we adhere by. So we only use OMRI listed stuff for our gardens. We only feed our birds USDA approved feed. There's no herbicides, pesticides, or fungicides that we spray on property. There are ones that are OMRI listed, but we just don't want that because it's still poison, unfortunately.
Well, you're gonna turn into a Monsanto's commercial, and then, hey, have you been to blah 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 and had Monsanto's? And that's
Right?
it. Looks good now. It's certified now, but
Yeah,
10 years from now, are you gonna be a statistic?
yeah. You may be entitled to compensation.
Exactly. And then those.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah. So like we try to like if we see like there's these Japanese beetles and they like invade like in numbers. I'm out there with like a cup of like Dawn dish soap and like water, right? And I'm literally like plucking them off my apple trees one at a time. I think I've gotten like 200 of them before in like one
The
little
red
like
one. Like they're nice
They're
looking. Like,
not the ladybug ones. There's like green and like they have like that cool like
oh, they
silvery
bite
look to
too.
them. Hmm?
They bite, I think.
Not these ones. I've plucked them off and I haven't gotten bit.
Maybe they're just afraid of you.
Maybe they see the guy with the beard coming. They're like, oh
Oh,
no.
we're about to get washed. Like,
Oh no, but it like adheres to them and they just like drown in it.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, those other ones too, the lantern flies.
I think I got I'm not sure if I could say the K word on here, but I think I had like 500 KIAs here.
Really? Well, I mean, they made an announcement that that's what we're supposed to do,
Oh,
but
I hunt them. I have a paddle outside that I take with me all around. And I like, dude, I'm telling you, I was so, and it's a piece of pallet wood, right? So it's like got like a nice little grip. And I've literally like whacked them out of the sky and then like go and crush them. My chickens don't eat them. My quail, supposedly supposed to eat them, don't eat them. My ducks love them.
that's concerning though. No, like, aren't they from China?
Yeah, they're Chinese bug. I don't know.
Oh
It's
God.
crazy. But we have a lot of sumac here, and they feed off the sumac. So I've noticed my sumac trees are dying because like those grow like weeds. I have to like cut them out, and they send like a runner vine out like 20 feet away from it. And I had one pop up in the middle of my lawn.
Oh,
Um,
that's good then, isn't it? That they
well, it's supposedly good, but I don't know what happens when they go to another tree and like they start hitting the maples or something like that. You know, like
that
we had the emerald borer beetles. They hit all the elm trees in the United States, and now there's really no more elms anymore.
I didn't know that.
Is it elm or no ash trees?
Yeah, there's no more ash.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't.
it's from the emerald borer beetles,
I
which
had
is
no.
crazy.
You're a wealth of knowledge, my friend. We need to do this more often, just so I can learn.
For
Whoever's listening,
sure, dude.
this is interesting to me.
Dude, I want to play with the telescopes, man. You got to bring those over because we're dark up here. Like when
Well,
there's
you
not
got to
full
try the
moon.
Vayonis. Like I'm lazy sometimes.
Uh huh.
All you do, I mean, I don't want to tell people. I'm not going to admit to the people on here that I'm that lazy. But all you got to do is turn it on, pick up your phone. That's the state of society now. Astronomy is also included in that.
Yeah.
So if you could
But yeah, that's
describe the images I sent you, what would you describe the images I sent you from the Vayonis in 3 words?
so friggin' epic.
So yeah, I like it. That's good.
Like
I
so epic.
audience, like I wish I could show them. They came out phenomenal, like impressive.
Do you have it on your Do you have it on your computer?
I don't think I see like I'll have to dive through it, and maybe next time we do this,
Yeah, because you could always flip the camera around and show them on that.
I'm not as skilled at this as you are, my friend. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have anything on here. It's on my phone, but yeah, it's awesome.
It is really awesome.
I could pull up a image that Vayonis did, and maybe I could. It's like a similar thing to
Yeah,
what I
because they
have.
basically stack photos. That's what it is. It's just stacking and compiling it, and then it makes like a super HDR photo of it.
It's the lazy man's astrophotography, and like from what you
That's
were
cool.
explaining, I was showing you with the setup that you're about to acquire, you're gonna have pictures that come out even nicer.
Yeah, because I'm gonna get the link up so I could. I guess what it is like I'll take my lens off probably. I'll probably take the lens off and I'm gonna attach this onto the actual telescope itself,
Oh, 100%.
and then I'll be able to just like zoom in and use the telescope as a lens instead of my lens because that's what
So
I'm
this
assuming the attachment is.
this is the one image I basically sent you before I photo stacked it. Like this is from Vayonis.
Yeah, that's
This is
awesome.
the Andromeda, which is the closest galaxy. It's 2.5 million light years away,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
sick.
actually getting closer to us. It's coming toward us. But the Vayonis makes it super easy to have images like this that 10 years ago would be impossible for even the average guy to get unless they had some real good tech.
Yeah,
So
not a
just
not a sponsored ad, guys. Just a very cool telescope.
and something I saved up for. I wanted it, and like everything else, you just if you want something, like you can either go full bore, which I try not to do,
Yeah.
or be like a good boy. Every paycheck, you put $50 away, and next thing I know, oh, there's a telescope I really wanted.
Oh yeah. How much did that thing cost you? Like a couple grand, right?
And that one
For you?
was well, it went down in price. So if everyone's watching, you can pick up the newer one for what I paid, $2,500,
That's still not bad though.
and the
I know
newer
that.
one like 4,500. I want to say.
Dang,
Yeah,
that's
man.
crazy. That's
I,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Like you get what you pay for as well. But the scope that you're going to acquire, given your skill set and your expertise with the way
Mhm.
that one is, the aperture's bigger. You're going to get pictures that'll destroy the Vayonis. And then I'll show
Yeah.
you how to.
But is the zoom? How far does it zoom?
You put the bar lens on there, you'll get images way better than what the Vaonis
Really?
gets, because it's got a more bigger aperture. It's just you're
Okay,
getting image this much more light than what the Vaonis is versus this.
gotcha. So it's
A way better scope for that.
like a full frame versus micro four thirds.
That's a good way to look at it. But yeah, I would just say picture trying to compare, like, I don't have my flashlight, but a small flashlight versus a big flashlight. You're
Gotcha.
getting way more light and you're able to process that light better. And like I said, with your skill set and your advanced camera, yeah, basically the Vaonis would be on the left or my left,
Yeah,
and your right would be the
yeah,
other one.
yeah. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, but
You see my lights pulsing?
I not on the camera. I know it doesn't look like it's pulsing, but it's bright.
Yeah. So I got the little space heater because my office is not heated.
Oh, okay.
There's a pipe that goes through to heat my upstairs, my bedroom.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
this office does not actually have heat for whatever
Is,
reason. They just decided to pipe around it. They're like, we'll just heat the bedroom upstairs, and it's not going to freeze these pipes. But I run a little space heater in the wintertime just in case.
is it cold in there now, or
Oh yeah, it's definitely. I don't have my heat gun, but it's
43 degrees outside? It says up here, which is similar to where you are. So
so two of these walls are like sort of insulated by the earth, and then that wall is outside, and then the wall behind me is the like the living room in the basement.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
that room has heat, and then the other three walls are like the bathroom, all insulated by dirt, and then the other like laundry room insulated by dirt as well. So it's usually around 58 degrees in
Oh, it's
those
not bad
rooms.
at all.
Yeah, so like I mean the ground gets cold. The ground's like maybe 56. So like I always got like
Yeah,
the UGG slippers under the desk.
yeah. You should get the my slippers.
The my slippers.
My brother grabbed a pair of those. They're amazing, apparently.
Hang on, what are they? It's called my slippers.
Yeah, but they're really expensive for what they are.
Is it like the my pillow?
Yeah, exactly. But there's a promo code. It gave you like $90 off, and they're still expensive.
Yeah,
What are they?
what?
250, like 150?
Hang on. Why is there a price for 69 though? Oh,
Oh,
original price 149, sale
something like
price 89.98. But with the promo code today, if you order in the next 15 minutes, you can have 4 easy payments of 15.99 for a
if you're
total of
financing a pair of slippers, there's a bigger conversation we should have.
there
Like
is
if you're
there is pay as low as 6.93 a month.
I'm gonna finance this. It's $3,
But
but
no, it's only $60. That's not bad.
oh well, I mean
But yeah,
150.
normally it says normally is $149 for these slippers. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pushing it. I might they're that comfortable though, so I probably would buy them now.
I mean, they look cool. So they got genuine leather, the My Pillow proprietary foam, memory
It's
foam,
awesome.
patented
They're amazing.
impact gel, and indoor insole.
It's like
Indoor
walking on puppy
outdoor
ears.
insole.
Say that.
Huh?
It's like walking on puppy ears, even though I shouldn't use that analogy because I'm with dogs. But sorry, guys.
It's okay. It's like walking on rabbit pelts. We got rabbits,
I mean,
and
you have a nice pair of gloves in
they're
that cage.
they're made for eating.
You have a nice pair of gloves sitting in there. I'll be honest.
I do. I'm telling you, like, so I have two does that are bred right now. Their
Hmm.
due dates are, I think, the 25th.
Hmm.
Let's see. No, 18th, 19th. I think their due dates are. And
Interesting.
the one doe has given me 6 kits. Two of them were stillborn, but
Uh,
it was her first go around,
hmm.
and she was bred about 9 months of age, so like it might be a little bit different. My
Hmm.
other doe, I bred her. She's 6 months of age. They say that the younger ones they can usually give more kits per litter, so I'm hoping for like 6 to 8 at least, because I know her mom gave me 6, so I could assume since she's bigger than her mom in 6 months of age, like I could assume probably more. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'll see. And yeah, the plan with those, like if I get like 8 to 10 rabbits, the plan 12 to 16 weeks later, I'm gonna put meat in the freezer. I'm gonna have 8 to 16 or 8 to 10 pelts to tan.
So be my Mike slippers.
Right? I'm gonna patent the company. It's gonna be okay. So this is now copyright information because I could do that with my YouTube channel. It's my
Want
content.
me to send out NDAs then? Is that would that help?
Huh?
Want me to send out some NDA agreements to people?
Yeah, right. But I'm thinking Bugs Rugs, like Bugs Bunny, Bugs Rugs.
I don't know. People might think differently, but I understand the premise. I like it, but
Yeah,
then you have
and
to
I'll
explain.
I'll, I'll make the things that the kids wear, drug rugs.
Hmm.
I'll make those out of rabbit pelts.
I mean, I would agree with you, except for the fact that the government really wants us to eat bugs. Apparently,
They
while they
do.
eat steak, so
They
I don't.
do. Well, you've heard about the like the mRNA that's in the food, right?
It's genetically modified. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like basically like vaccines that are like changing like DNA structure or whatever. But
a little
then
more nefarious than that.
they're
Like
they're now selling the fake meat in the stores. You know that?
well, countries like Italy banned it, but yes.
Yeah, well, they're doing it in America, and just like make sure when you get meat, it doesn't say like it'll say genetically made or bioengineered meat or something like that. But let me look up the lady's name.
Well, have you heard of something called meat glue?
Huh?
Meat glue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, meat glue is poison. It's
I,
like
I a mutual friend of ours discusses it to me once in a while, and it's like, ugh.
what is her name? There's a person that they have her. Okay, so Henrietta Lacks, right?
Hmm.
Um, born Loretta Pleasant, had terminal cervical cancer in 1951, diagnosed at the Hopkins University, Baltimore.
Hoskins is a
Um,
great hospital.
researchers collected and stored her cancer cells, and those cells went on to become the first immortal human cell line, in which the researchers named Hella. So basically, they're they have her cells and they're replicating them, and they replicate at such incredible rates. They're using these cells now to grow that meat, the meat that's grown in the lab. They're using her cells to create this fake meat.
I don't know what to say.
It's disgusting. Like,
It's interesting. I'd have to do my own research just to really understand that.
yeah.
But if it's how you're describing it, I'm gonna have to give that a hard pass.
Yeah, 100%. Because they're be able to create this meat in like no time, but they say that creating this meat is actually pushing more carbon emissions out than actually raising the amount of meat that you get back from like the animals.
Well, how about Taylor Swift trying to tell us that we're poisoning the environment, and her one trip on her private jet is more poisonous than any car that I've ever driven for my entire life until
Oh
I
yeah.
die.
Mm-hmm.
So it's beyond disingenuous. You want to be really
That's
pragmatic
crazy.
about it.
So the way that I run my chickens, I run them in like the Salatin style tractor. So
Hmm.
Joel Salatin, he owns Polyface Farm down in West Virginia, or no, Virginia, I think. Um, awesome gentleman. He's like definitely like the past, the present, and the future of farming for like sustainability. So I run like his practices on my land. So basically, I run my birds in a 10-foot by 12-foot tractor, and I don't bring them back to the same plot of land for a minimum of like 35 days, but if I can push it 60 days at least.
Um,
But
that's a
if
good
you were to
idea.
if you were to come over and see like my pasture in the back, dude, it is like the most amazing green that you've ever seen next to like pale green
Yeah,
grass. And it's where the chickens have ran and like it's given like maybe 2 or 3 weeks of rest time. But the grass, they peck and scratch it, so they're aerating it.
they're aerating it, exactly.
They're dropping a massive manure load, which they say chicken manure is so hot it could burn things and whatever. Um, but I move them twice a day. So like I pack the manure like how I want it, and if they're producing more manure, I move them a little bit more frequently or a little bit bigger move so they have extra square footage. But basically, I keep them moving twice a day, and they get fresh water, and I get fresh manure. You just got to watch out where you walk in my yard when I'm running chickens, but
I mean,
chickens,
yeah, that's anything else though. That's a
yeah.
good idea though. I didn't even know that.
And so what it does is like it does enough damage that it like makes the grass like restart its
Like when
cycle.
you work out, basically, you're damaging your muscle
Yeah.
fiber.
But it makes it come back twice as strong, which then so like on an acre of land, I should be able to sequester 3 tons of carbon out of the air and put it back into the ground where it belongs with the type of regenerative farming that I'm doing.
That's interesting. And you have
It's
all this documented as well. So when you go for your whatever, it's all
yeah.
there.
Yeah. So it's like it's intensive rotational grazing basically. So like they beat up the land and then the land it goes into like this regenerative thing and then it pulls carbon and it stores carbon into the grass underneath it because grass is like one of our best carbon sequesters out there. You know, like
Trees.
more so than trees.
But
Grasslands,
I
that's where
heard
it's at.
algae for one. Would that be?
Algae's good, but algae's also dying because the temperatures are rising supposedly. But tell me how the temperatures, the waters are rising if all this ice is melting.
Well, I mean, I
Shouldn't the ice
so
be cooling it down?
I mean, I do think the temperatures are rising, but what they're trying to pivot us from is utilizing that as a scaring point or a fear mongering tactic to pay more taxes. Let's say that they are
100%.
rising. What would be the lift to actually help us as a society to not be like that? So we're producing less carbon as a nation than ever before,
Yep.
whereas China's producing more. So the less we do, they're doing more, and we're still
Yeah, we're
at
still
the
on the same curve.
exactly.
I mean, I would say like twice a month, nobody should use a car. Like, it's just basically shut down the country. No shipping, no trucking, no nothing, and that would cut. But like, I don't think it's going to do anything. I think it's the sun's activity. You're into astronomy. The sun's at
Yeah,
its solar maximum right now, and that
we're entering solar maximum. Yes,
yeah. But now that is it goes up over 15 years, and then it'll decrease slowly over 15 years. So it's like a 30-year cycle. So over the next 15 years, it'll start to slowly decrease. We'll have less solar activity, so less like radiation and EMPs and all that other good stuff, solar
they'll
flares.
still be there. Don't let that be a false sense of security. But yes, you're right.
Yeah, but so technically over the next 15 years, we should, so like 15 years from today, we should see colder winters again. They might not be as cold as 15 years ago, but they'll still be colder than they are right now. We should get more snow load, more rain, all those stuff.
Unless we're gonna get this this runaway greenhouse effect like Venus. So they
Well,
say Venus was once like Earth.
yeah,
If
and then
that's true,
then
that's
then it
scary.
started raising the temperature like by the surface temperature like 4 degrees a day until it hit its climax.
Eight
Yeah,
hundred or something like that now.
yeah. So we'd be there in like 200 days, and
Uh,
it'd be unlivable in 40 days.
Untenable, I would say. I
Yeah.
think we have a little more than 40 days, but it would be the worst 40 days ever.
Well, if it's 40 degrees right now and 40 days later it'd be an extra 120, we'd be done. We'd be cooked.
The, well, the best beachfront property at that point would be Antarctica, believe it or not.
Would it
So
be
get
hot
real
there?
estate up.
It would still be the whole surface would be hot like that.
No, absolutely. I'm being sarcastic, but yes, it's scary for sure. And then eventually, what people don't realize is, in 4.5 to 5 billion years, the
Hmm.
sun will eventually envelop out to Mars, and nothing will exist. And
Yeah.
then it'll turn to a white dwarf. The center will collapse in, and so goes
Oh, the
the
white
fact.
dwarfs are even hotter than the red giants.
Well, the scary part is no one would ever know we existed ever.
No. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like
I don't think even like the best aliens out there would have the technology to come down to something that's 1,200 degrees. You
well,
know,
you heard of the Drake equation, right?
I have not.
Really? So I'm going to give you a little bit of fun facts for tonight. The Drake equation is done by Francis Drake, and it's a very archaic equation because he passed away before understanding that currently now 25% of the stars you see have a planetary system,
Yep.
one planet, right? So he didn't even know that. So the numbers are a lot higher. So the equation basically states that how many stars are in a galaxy,
Okay.
how many planets are in around that star, how many planets are in the habitable zone of that star, how many planets are the chemical composition in the habitable zone in a star that would give life, and then so goes. So
Okay.
technically, there could be lots of life in the universe,
Yeah, 100%.
like
Yep.
millions and billions of civilizations.
Oh yeah, I'm looking it up right now. So
It's insane, right?
yeah, N equals R star times FP, NE, FL, FI, FCL. So
So
it's number of
the
civilizations which humans could communicate, mean rate of star formation, fraction of stars that have planets, mean number of planets that could support life per star with planets, fraction of life supporting planets that develop life, fraction of planets with life where life develops intelligence, fraction of intelligent civilizations that develop communication, and mean length of time that civilizations can communicate. That is one heck of a fraction.
yeah, but we have so many stars out there that that number is a lot higher than people would think by looking at the
Oh,
equation.
oh, 100%. Because like in just the Milky Way galaxy alone, there's how many stars?
Well, it's 100,000 light years across. So
Yeah,
100,000 years going at the speed of light, which means
yeah,
that we've never even touched with our radio signals and light anywhere near the edge of the Milky Way.
yeah. Okay, so you ready for this one? I blew my astronomy teacher's mind in college with this. So
Okay,
she's like, she goes, yeah, like when like red giants like are at the end of their life cycle, like they turn in like they implode and turn into a white dwarf, and
or
I'm
a
like,
black hole.
Yeah, or a black hole. I'm like, that's really awesome. I'm like, how do we know that? And she goes, well, it's just how it is. They know because like the genetic makeup and like gases and leftover gases. And I go, okay. I'm like, so in order for us to actually like take this theory, because it's just a theory, right? We would have had to witness, let's say, a red giant, because it's going to be, let's say it's 100 million light years away or something, right? It's going to take 100 million years to get to us. But if by that time that it gets to us, eventually it might have been a dwarf by then, right? So if we have not seen that red giant go from red phase to blue phase, right, where the light changes of that star, we don't know if red giants actually turn to white dwarfs.
Well, that is true, but there's also a caveat to that. So there's what's interesting about a supernova is they're consistent, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
ever heard of the Doppler effect?
Yep.
The Doppler effect works much the same way as a black hole. So when we're looking at other black holes, they're very similar based on the composition of a star, and we know this by the color. Beyond that of the redshift and the stuff like that. So basically, when we see an explosion based on the color of the star, we
Yeah.
know relative size or chemical composition. So we could see the aftermaths of seeing all these black holes supernovas that have gone off. So we can kind of get a catalyst of seeing what would be similar, and that's how they come up with these theories, basically.
Yeah. But my theory is that like maybe the star is just born like that. It might have a similar genetic makeup, you know.
Well, Jupiter is considered a failed star, believe it or not.
Is it?
It's the same chemical composition as our star. It's just not
Okay.
big enough to create the process of nuclear fission.
Interesting. Interesting. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's scary too. So if we're looking at like the next biggest event as far as supernovas, I like how this conversation transcended from.
Oh yeah. That's where the
So
lives go, man. The live would go wherever.
exactly, awesome. So Betelgeuse, you know Betelgeuse,
Yeah.
the star.
Is that the it's a star, right? Just a single
It's
star?
also part of the Big Dipper. I want to say constellation.
Okay.
It's about to go supernova,
Is
and
it?
by about I mean now or 1,000 years from now.
Okay. So close enough. In a star's lifetime, it's nothing. 1,000 years.
No, it's a drop in the bucket. So I hope we get to see it because it'll light up the night sky like the moon does for
Mm,
3 days or three
that'd be
weeks.
crazy.
It's one of the biggest stars we know of as well.
Really? That's nuts, dude. What do you
And
think what's like the gravity on that? If it's the
well,
biggest
they
star?
do at massive stars. Like so, for example, picture the speed of light.
Yeah.
Light is so freaking fast. It's uncalculable. Well, it is calculable. It's 186,000 miles a second. I want
Yeah,
to say.
right? Or
Kilometers.
299,792,458 meters per second.
Okay, so it's
Yeah, or
186. I want to say.
186,000 miles per second.
I was close, right? I'm not
Yeah.
perfect.
No, that's
So basically, it takes
186,000.
8 to 9 minutes for light to get from the sun to us.
Yeah.
And did
Yeah,
you
right.
also it takes 1,000 years for light to leave the center of the star to get outside the star to get to us?
Because the gravity is pulling that light back in.
Yes and no. When photons of light travel, they
Uh-huh.
they don't they travel straight, they bounce. But the
Okay.
sun is so dense and it's a cauldron of just hot
Yeah,
material.
because like the sun spins in like different directions on different like levels of it.
Magnetic fields are twisting and turning
Yeah.
and it's turning it like a gigantic spoon. Like picture
Yeah.
your grandmother's Italian cooking with a spoon.
It's like whenever they make the candy, it's almost like that.
That's
Watching
actually a really good analogy. I never thought of the toffee. That's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
analogy.
Yeah, it's like watching the taffy get made, basically how the
You're
sun's spinning around itself, which is nuts.
fantastic. So yeah, that's and then they say it takes I don't know the exact time off the top of my head, but it takes the circumference of a star like Betelgeuse is so big that it takes like 100 days for light to get around it.
That's crazy.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
All right, so listen, I have to cut this short.
Yeah,
I
no
have
problem. I figure we've been on here a little over an hour, so
Yep,
I really appreciate you coming on, dude. And
it's my pleasure. I'll do it more often.
yeah, definitely, man. Like whenever you got free time. I
Absolutely.
pop on like lives like all the time just randomly. I was doing like farm chores for like a week or so until I had like my little health scare. So,
Yeah,
but
no, I understand.
just arthritis, so just getting old, man. You know
No,
what
I
I
know.
looked up?
Shout
I
out
looked
to
up
your
the
audience as
statistic.
well.
I think it's only like 20% of like people over 60 get this arthritis in the neck.
I'm
I'm
getting old.
old. I'm getting
Time
old.
flies. And shout out to your audience, like I said.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I appreciate having you here. It's been great conversation.
We'll talk. Be safe. All right,
And,
everybody?
and what's really cool is you'll be able to see this live because it's going to just load up onto my channel. So,
Awesome. I'll check it out. I like checking out your stuff.
yeah, dude,
It'd
definitely.
be weird seeing myself on there, but thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here, Flory.
Be well, my friend. I'll
You
talk to you
too.
soon.
Everybody, have a great night. You guys all enjoy. Stay safe out there.
Bye.
Take it easy.